Who are you? No, really. If you stripped away the mask, the tech, and the fancy suits, what remains? We've spent over 20 decades watching Peter Parker swing across our screens, but beneath the webbing lies a psychological blueprint for human survival that most of us completely miss. Welcome to Hidden Lens. Today, we aren't just looking at the movies, we are looking through them. From Tobey Maguire's brutal stoicism to Andrew Garfield's shattering grief, and finally, Tom Holland's radical empathy. We're going to uncover the life secrets hidden in the Spider-Verse, lessons that will change how you view your own struggles, your own power, and your own choices. Before we dive into the deep end, do me a favor. If you've ever felt like the world was pushing you down and you just kept getting up, hit that like button right now. It tells the algorithm that resilience is a story worth sharing. And if you haven't already, join our community of thinkers by clicking subscribe. Stick around, because the secret we've found in the final act of No Way Home, it might just be the most important thing you hear all year. Let's go back to the beginning, 2002. Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker is often criticized for being too awkward or brooding, but that is precisely the point. He represents the weight of the world. Maguire's Peter isn't a hero because he wants to be. He is a hero because he has to be. In philosophy, there's a concept called deontology, the idea that some actions are mandatory, regardless of how much they hurt you. Maguire's Peter doesn't want to miss a play with Mary Jane. He doesn't want to lose every job he gets. He doesn't want to be too tired to even sleep. But he chooses integrity over happiness every single time. Think about the Spider-Man No More arc in Spider-Man 2. When his powers start to fail, it wasn't just a physical glitch, it was a psychological rebellion. His mind was begging him to be normal. He wanted to be Peter Parker, the boy who gets the girl and pays his rent on time. But Uncle Ben's voice remains the moral anchor. These are the years when a man changes into the man he's going to become the rest of his life. The secret here? Responsibility isn't a burden you carry because you're strong. It's the thing that makes you strong. If you're watching this and you feel overwhelmed by your obligations, at home, at work, in your community, know that you are in your Spider-Man phase. You aren't being crushed, you are being built. Now, contrast that with Andrew Garfield. If Maguire is the stoic, Garfield is the humanist. His Peter Parker isn't a wallflower, he's a scientist, a loner with an edge, someone who feels every laceration and every loss with terrifying intensity. Garfield's Spider-Man teaches us the secret of tenacity. He is stabbed, nearly drowned, and eventually loses the love of his life, Gwen Stacy, in the most traumatic way possible. In that moment at the clock tower, Peter didn't just lose Gwen, he lost his reason to stay human.
But look at what he does next. He returns. In the Spider-Verse, there's a question that haunts every beginner. When will I know I'm ready? The answer? You won't. It's a leap of faith. That's all it is, Miles. A leap of faith. This is the secret of the amazing era. You don't wait for the fear to go away before you act through the fear. Andrew's Peter shows us that vulnerability is not a weakness, it is the source of your resilience. If you've ever lost someone or something that defined you, the lesson from Hidden Lens is this: your grief is not a cage, it is a catalyst. Let's talk about the suit. At Hidden Lens, we look at the details others miss. The suit is not just spandex, it's a psychological progression. In the Maguire era, the suit was thick, textured, almost like armor. It reflected the heavy industrial burden of his responsibility. In the Garfield era, the suit became leaner, more spider-like. It moved with a fluid, nervous energy. It reflected a Peter who was constantly on the move, a scientist experimenting with his own identity. And Tom Holland? His suit started as high-tech gifts from a billionaire, but the most important suit he ever wore was the one he made himself at the end of No Way Home. A simple, hand-sewn, classic red and blue. The secret? You can't rely on the tools others give you to define who you are. True identity is something you sew yourself in the quiet moments of your own struggle. Finally, we arrive at Tom Holland, the breath of fresh air. But don't let the high school jokes fool you. Holland's Peter Parker faces a dilemma that would break any of the others: the demon of choice. In No Way Home, the plot isn't about defeating villains, it's about restorative justice. While Dr. Strange argues that the villains must die for the greater good, the utilitarian path, Peter argues that every soul deserves a second chance. This is the secret that can change your life today. Peter chooses to help Norman Osborn silence the voices in his head. He chooses to cure the Sinister Five rather than destroy them. The lesson? In your own life, you will encounter villains, people who hurt you, let you down, or make your life difficult. You have a choice: revenge or restoration. Peter shows us that the ultimate power isn't the ability to hit back, it's the ability to reach out. Because when you help one, you help everyone. Let's dig even deeper into the philosophy that Hidden Lens lives for. Have you ever heard of Nietzsche's concept of the Ubermensch, the overman? Most people think this means a guy with muscles who can fly, but Nietzsche meant something far more internal. The Ubermensch is someone who creates their own values in a world without inherent meaning. The Green Goblin thinks he is the Ubermensch. He says gods don't have to choose, we take. He thinks power puts him above morality. But Peter Parker? Peter is the true evolution of humanity. He has the power of a god, but the heart of a neighbor. He chooses to follow a moral law even when there is no one to enforce it. That is the ultimate life secret. True strength isn't about what you can take, it's about what you can give up for the sake of what's right. But wait, there's more. Did you notice the framing in the Maguire movies? Director Sam Raimi often uses high-angle shots to make Peter look small and vulnerable during his emotional struggles. It's a visual trick to make his eventually standing up feel more heroic. And in Across the Spider-Verse, the significance of the number 42. It's not just a random digit. It pays homage to Jackie Robinson, the man who broke the color barrier in baseball. Just like Miles Morales, Robinson was told he didn't belong. Both had to work 10 times harder to prove they were worthy of the uniform. And the biggest secret of all? The bagel. The same bagel that Miles threw at a scientist in the first movie became the origin of the Spot, the multiverse's greatest threat. The lesson? Your smallest actions have massive ripple effects. Be careful what you throw out into the world. Every Spider-Man movie is, at its core, a story about fathers. Uncle Ben, Tony Stark, Norman Osborn. These aren't just characters, they are archetypes of mentorship. Uncle Ben represents the moral compass. Tony Stark represents the legacy. And Norman Osborn? He represents the shadow. The secret hidden here is that we all have these three voices in our heads. We have the voice telling us to do the right thing, we have the voice telling us to achieve greatness, and we have the voice telling us to take what we want by force. Spider-Man isn't just fighting villains in the streets, he is balancing these three voices in his soul. Why does he wear a mask? Stan Lee once said the beauty of Spider-Man is that his skin is completely covered. It could be anyone. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, anyone. But psychologically, the mask serves a dual purpose. For Peter, it's a shield for his loved ones. But for us, it's a mirror. When you watch Spider-Man, you aren't watching a character. You are watching a version of yourself who refuses to quit. Think about the underdog effect we often analyze here at Hidden Lens. We root for the guy who gets his bike stolen, who can't pay his rent, who gets rejected by his dream school. Why? Because that's our life. And if he can save the multiverse while failing his physics test, maybe, just maybe, we can get through our struggles too. The secret is that the mask doesn't hide who you are. It reveals what you're capable of. In the climax of No Way Home, we see a literal manifestation of the trolley problem. For those who don't know, the trolley problem is a thought experiment. Do you kill one to save 5? Dr. Strange says yes. He's a utilitarian. He looks at the math. Their deaths are a statistical necessity to save the universe. But Peter Parker? He refuses the math. He says every life is an infinite value. He would rather risk everything to save the one than sacrifice the one for the many. This is why we love him. Because in a world that treats us like data points, Spider-Man treats us like humans. He reminds us that morality isn't a calculation, it's a commitment.
We cannot talk about Spider-Man without talking about the leap of faith. In Into the Spider-Verse, Miles doesn't jump because he knows he can fly. He jumps because he decides to be Spider-Man. Notice the animation in that scene. The camera is flipped. Miles isn't falling down, he is rising up. The secret of the leap is that the readiness never comes. If you wait until you are 100% ready to start that business, to ask that person out, or to change your life, you will wait forever. Faith isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that something else is more important than fear. One of the most powerful moments in cinematic history was seeing all 3 Peters together in No Way Home. It wasn't just fan service, it was a multiversal therapy session. Maguire's Peter, the older brother, shows that the pain never truly goes away, but you learn to carry it with dignity. Garfield's Peter finds redemption by saving MJ, healing the wound he received when he lost Gwen. And Holland's Peter learns that being a hero means being willing to be forgotten. This is a lesson for all of us. We are all at different stages of our journey. Some of us are the rookie Miles, learning to swing. Some of us are the grieving Garfield, trying to find a reason to keep going. And some of us are the stoic Maguire, just trying to hold the train together. No matter where you are, remember, you are not alone in the verse. Let's discuss the Sinister 5 as metaphors. Many fans on Hidden Lens have pointed out that these villains represent the shadow versions of Peter. The Green Goblin is Peter's unchecked ambition. Dr. Octopus is Peter's intellectual pride. Electro is Peter's desire for recognition. Sandman is Peter's desperation to protect family at any cost. And the Lizard is Peter's belief that he can fix humanity through force. By curing them, Peter isn't just saving them, he is defeating his own potential for darkness. This is Jungian psychology at its finest. To be a hero, you must first confront your own capacity for evil, and then choose to keep it in check. At Hidden Lens, we believe that every story is a mirror. We don't just watch movies, we analyze the optics of the human soul. If you enjoyed this breakdown, you'll love our other videos, like the one where we dissect the color theory of the Joker's madness, or the secret symbolism in Christopher Nolan's masterpieces. Go ahead and check out our Hidden Details playlist after this video. You'll find things you've watched a dozen times but never truly saw. We're a community of thinkers, creators, and web-slingers. So comment below, which Spider-Man is your Peter Parker? And what's the one lesson from these films that helped you get back up? I read every single comment, so let's start a conversation. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. We've got a massive deep dive coming up next week on the philosophy of the multiverse that you won't want to miss. Your support helps us keep the lens focused on the things that matter. We've covered sacrifice, resilience, and justice. But there's one final secret, the most powerful one of all. In the finale of No Way Home, Peter Parker loses everything: his aunt, his friends, his identity. He is completely alone. But look at his face in that final shot as he swings into the snow. There is no bitterness, only a quiet, resolute peace. The secret? Happiness is a feeling, but integrity is a state of being. Peter shows us that even when you hit rock bottom, you have the ultimate freedom, the power to choose who you will become next. You are not your trauma. You are not your mistakes.
You are the person who gets back up every single time. Think about the sheer impossibility of what Peter does. He lives in a world that hates him, in a city that forgets him, in a body that is constantly broken, and yet he swings. Why? Because he understands that the world doesn't owe him anything. He owes the world his best self. That is the ultimate spider secret. Look at the color palette of the Spider-Verse movies. Have you noticed how the colors shift based on Peter's confidence? When he is doubting himself, the world is desaturated, gray and heavy. But when he embraces his purpose, the screen explodes with vibrant magentas, electric blues, and golden yellows. This isn't just art, it's a representation of mindset. How you view the world changes what the world looks like to you. If you look through a lens of fear, you will see a world of threats. But if you look through a lens of responsibility, you will see a world of opportunities to do good. The spider sense is another metaphor we often overlook. In our real lives, we call this intuition, that quiet voice in the back of your head telling you that something is wrong or that you're about to make a mistake. Spider-Man's greatest victories don't come from his muscles, they come from listening to that voice. In Far From Home, Peter defeats Mysterio not by seeing with his eyes, but by trusting his internal sense of truth. The lesson? In a world filled with illusions, social media filters, fake news, and people pretending to be who they aren't, your greatest superpower is your ability to sense the truth. Don't ignore your Peter tingle. It's there to protect you. Let's talk about Aunt May. In the MCU, her role was reimagined. She became the moral engine. Her death was the catalyst for Peter's final transformation. When she said, "With great power there must also come great responsibility," she wasn't just repeating a line, she was giving Peter his soul back. She reminded him that being good is harder than being powerful. Many of us are looking for a mentor like Tony Stark, someone to give us the tech, the money, and the fame. But what we really need is an Aunt May, someone to tell us the truth, even when it's painful, someone to remind us that our character is the only thing we actually own. Think about the bridge scene in the first Spider-Man movie, the choice between the woman he loves and a tram full of innocent children. This is the ultimate test of a hero. Peter chooses both. He refuses to accept a world where he has to sacrifice one for the other. In your life, people will tell you that you can't have it all. They will tell you that you have to choose between your career and your family, or between your dreams and your duties. Spider-Man tells us to fight for both, to push ourselves beyond our perceived limits, to save everything that matters. We are nearing the end of our journey today on Hidden Lens, but before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought. In Into the Spider-Verse, Stan Lee's character says something profound when Miles buys a suit that is too big for him. He says, "It always fits eventually." You might feel like the responsibilities in your life are too big for you right now. You might feel like you're playing a role you aren't ready for. But remember, the suit fits the person who has the courage to wear it. You will grow into your power. You will grow into your purpose. Spider-Man is the everyman hero. He is the kid from Queens. He's the guy who struggles with his taxes. He's the person who makes mistakes and has to apologize. And that is why he is the most important superhero ever created. Because he shows us that you don't have to be perfect to be a hero. You just have to be persistent. If you found value in this deep dive, please share this video with someone who is going through their own Spider-Man phase. It might be the encouragement they need to keep swinging. Thank you for spending this time with us at Hidden Lens. We don't take your attention for granted. We are committed to bringing you the deepest analyses and the most compelling stories on YouTube. Make sure to check out our latest video on the secret history of the symbiote, which is on your screen right now. It explores the psychological impact of power and how it can corrupt even the best of us. Until next time, Keep your eyes sharp and your heart open, because the world doesn't need more gods. It just needs more friendly neighborhood heroes like you. Be the hero your neighborhood needs. And hey, if you're still listening, you're a legend. Most people click away after the first few minutes, but you stayed for the full 3,000 words. That kind of focus is a superpower in itself. Drop a Spider-Man emoji in the comments so I know who the true fans are. I'll be hearting the best comments and responding to your theories. What should our next Hidden Lens deep dive be? Batman? The Matrix? Inception? You decide the future of this channel. Keep swinging, stay curious, and remember, the lens is always watching.